दुनिया में अगर सबसे ज़्यादा परेशान है तो किसान है।
बड़ा चिंतित रहता था, एक तो पैसा नहीं,
खाने के लिए मोहताज थे।
70% पब्लिक केवल कृषि पर आधारित है।
मेरी तो एक धरती माता है, मैं तो इसी में बनूंगा, इसी में मरूंगा, इसी में मिटूंगा।
Food should be our medicine. It shouldn't be poison.
हम एक पसर फटे कपड़े पहन लें, 2 टाइम का 1 टाइम खा ले मनो, धरती से दिलवाई करते सर।
घर में इतनी अशांति थी कि ऐसा लगता था कि मैं आत्महत्या कर लूं, लेकिन आत्महत्या की सोचता था तो परिवार के बारे में ख्यालात और कि इनका क्या हो।
उद्योग या सर्विस अकेले भारत को उन्नति के विकास पर नहीं ले जा सकते।
Our world today has developed at a pace unheard of in the past 5,000 years of human development. With technology at our fingertips, massive infrastructural projects that cater to our every need, and advances in healthcare that allow people to live far longer than they ever have, our world has reached the dawn of a new age, the age of science. But are development and technology really making our lives better and easier? And most importantly, are they making us healthier, better? In our quest for scientific progress, at times we may be overlooking ancient wisdom. An alternative means of cultivation that can coexist with agricultural development and give us healthier and more quantities of food.
The population on the planets is day by day increasing like anything, and to feed and to provide the food, we must produce the enough food grains and other required food material for them. And for that, the today's advanced agricultural technologies are working well. But under certain circumstances, many problems are also faced for achieving the optimum yield.
If we want to have the increased agricultural output, the soil has to be very fertile. The fertile means the life-giving microorganisms must be present in the soil. But with the modern agricultural practices, we have killed all the life-giving microorganisms, and the soil is becoming dead.
If we look at the hazardous effect of modern technologies which are using the pesticides, hazardous chemicals for control of either insects, pests. So, residues problem are emerging in various foodstuff, various food grains, and that are at alarming stage.
Scientists have proven all these pesticides, they don't stay outside of the fruit, they go inside. So, but when we eat it, food should be our medicine. It shouldn't be poison.
The population of the world is expected to grow by over a few billion people in the next 30 years. The main contributors to growth are mostly developing countries, with India contributing 13% of this growth in population. The number of people living on our planet will reach around 10 billion in the next 30 years. And the amount of food we require to feed these people will increase by 70% worldwide. With demand increasing at such a monumental pace, the pressure on increasing food production will also become extreme. Unfortunately, what should be our sustenance and nourishment for generations to come is in danger of becoming a source of disease, slow poisoning of our bodies, and of the land that gives us life.
30 साल के अनुभव में किसानों की जो फसलों की लागत बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ती जा रही है। नई तकनीकी से उपज एक सीमा तक पहुंच चुकी है। इसके बाद केवल लागत बढ़ रही है, उपज नहीं बढ़ रही है। काफ़ी फैक्टर्स, वेदर्स भी काफ़ी ख़राब, डिस्टर्ब आ रहे हैं जो किसानों के प्रतिकूल है। ऐसे समय में किसान अपने आप को काफ़ी असहाय महसूस कर रहा है और उनके साथ हम जैसे विस्तार कार्यकर्ता भी असहाय महसूस कर रहे हैं कि ये जो साधन अभी तक दिए थे सरकार ने या सभी अपनाए थे, वैज्ञानिकों ने जो दिए थे, वो अब साधन ऐसे लग रहे हैं कि बहुत छोटे हो गए।
मेरा ज़मीन करने में मन नहीं लगता क्योंकि हम इतने परेशान थे कि अगर जो फसल हम बोते थे तो अगर मान लो हमने 1 बोरा गेहूं बोया है तो लगभग वो 8 या 9 कुंटल निकलता था या 7 कुंटल निकलता था और बहुत सारी लागतें आती थी जिसमें हम पर एकड़ 1 बोरी DAP 1 बोरी यूरिया भी डालते थे। उसके बाद में भी बहुत घाटा लगता था, वो मज़ा नहीं आ रहा था काम करने में, कृषि करने में। ऐसा लगता था कि यार दुनिया में अगर सबसे ज़्यादा परेशान है तो किसान है।
बड़ा चिंतित रहता था। एक तो पैसा नहीं हाथ में, वो बीमार होता तो पैसा लगाने के लिए नहीं। वो ऐसी कई मुझसे पूरा परिवार चलाता हूँ मजदूरी करके, बटिया करके और अपनी फसलें बना के।
Advanced agricultural practices introduced in India have led to a spike in the quantity of food grains, especially after the Green Revolution. But the question remains not only about the quality of this food, but of the condition of the land and the farmer who works relentlessly on his small piece of land to increase his yield and feed his family.
Farmer is a very, very important person for every human being. You may need a doctor once in a year, or probably in your lifetime you may need 1 or twice a lawyer. But the farmer, every human being needs it 3 times a day minimum. When you are eating food, it is because of the farmer.
देखिए, किसान पौधे से बिल्कुल जुड़ा रहता है। उसका जो फसल रहती है वो शुरू से लेकर जब से वो बोनी करता है, बोनी करने से लेकर उसकी कटाई तक उस पौधे के संपर्क में रहता है।
जब तूफान आ जाए, ओले गिर जाए, फसल बनी सजी खड़ी दुल्हन की तरह, और वो तो एक माँ है और बच्चा है जिसको बच्चे को पोसते पालते हैं, ऐसे ही हम फसलों को पोसते और पालते। जो हम बच्चों को नहीं कर पाए देखभाल जितनी हम अपने सब्जी की, अपने खेत की पे ध्यान देते हैं। हम एक पसर फटे कपड़े पहन लें, 2 टाइम का 1 टाइम खा ले, मनो धरती से बेवार करते सर। कभी जीवन में इतनी मेहनत करते हैं कि भगवती देती तो है, मगर जो आर्थिक जो स्थितियाँ आती हैं तो जय भगवान से विनती का जो कोई अटैक नहीं आते, आदमी को मर नहीं जाते, वो अपना गम पी के खुद रह जाता है। जैसी स्थिति में कार्य चलता हुआ वैसी स्थिति में उल्टा सीधा चलाता रहता है।
Much as the farmer may be tied to his land, the last 2 decades have seen a dramatic shift in the demographic of the country from rural to urban areas. Rapid urbanization and the lure of better paying jobs in the cities have seen scores of farmers leave farming and move to the cities. Every day, thousands of farmers leave farming and take up jobs in industries or are moving to construction work. Most of them become daily wage workers, where they have no home and are constantly moving from one place to another. Since 1991, we have lost 15 million farmers to urban jobs in cities. The importance of the farmer in our society is becoming lesser and lesser, while our dependence on agricultural produce is increasing. The reverence that India once had for the humble farmer who toiled away at the land to put food on our tables is slowly succumbing to the pressures of modern farming.
Direction of humanity is going somewhere else, but it makes you feel sad, and farmers has given up because of economic pressure. But through modernity, fast, everybody wants more, everybody just thinking of, yeah? So farmers also, they have pressure, they want more.
हम चाहते हैं चमत्कारी प्रोडक्शन, आधुनिक एग्रीकल्चर गुणोत्तर श्रेणी में बढ़ना चाहता है, ज्योमेट्रिक प्रोग्रेशन में जाना चाहता है। तो ये जो ज्योमेट्रिक प्रोग्रेशन की जो ललक लगी, इससे हमारा मिट्टी का स्वास्थ्य खराब हुआ।
जब फसल नहीं आती थी, अपने जो कर्ज था उससे आधी फसल आती थी, तो ऐसे ख्याल आते थे कि अब क्या करें कि ज़मीन बेच दो, का घर बेच दो, का थ्रेसर बेच दो, का बैल बेच दीजिए, का मोटर बेच दीजिए। सर ऐसे बहुत से प्रॉब्लम हर एक अनेक प्रकार के आते रहते थे। सर जब फसल नहीं आती थी तो ऐसे लगते थे कि ज़मीन को छोड़ दो, कर दो, पड़ी रहने दो, इसके सिकमी दे दो, 2, 5, 10 साल के तो अपनी कर्ज पाट दो। तो अपने सिंचाई वगैरह सब कुछ की, उसमें कीटनाशक भी डाली, तो भी फसल आता ही नहीं।
The roots that farmers have to their land have been visibly shaken. To keep up with the increase in demand for food production, farmers are urged to use pesticides, insecticides, and fertilizers.
The whole world is facing a crisis of the food. The food should be available for everyone. Nobody should remain hungry. But it should be healthy food, not the food which is infested with the poisonous chemicals.
आपने जो कहा है कि किसान को जो अभी उपयोग कर रहा है 300-400 करोड़ के लगभग, ये अकेला मात्र पेस्टिसाइड उपयोग कर रहा है।
After certain period of time, the demand for high productivity, the use of fertilizers also started during those days after independence. We have also introduced many toxicants for control of pest as well as disease, and also chemical fertilizers. And continuous use and injudicious use of such chemicals and fertilizers caused many problems. Say for example, if the continuously chemical fertilizer is used in certain soil, the productivity of that crop is gone down, and if the productivity gone down, then the farmer started to use more and more fertilizer, and as a result the soil became salty, and under this situation the productivity is gone very much down.
आपने इंसेक्टिसाइड और पेस्टिसाइड का आप जो बता रहे हैं, इससे क्या हो रहा है कि लागत बढ़ रही है। अगर किसान, एक तो नॉलेज कम होता है और हर वैज्ञानिक किसान के पास नहीं पहुंच पाता है। वैज्ञानिक रिकमेंडेशन करते हैं कि पहले लो पेस्टिसाइड डालें, इसके बाद आप उच्च डालें, लेकिन किसान को एकदम से लाभ के लिए तो हैवी पेस्टिसाइड, मतलब जो काफ़ी महंगा पेस्टिसाइड या जो हैवी जल्दी से फ़ायदा देने वाला हो, वो एक बार मालूम पड़ गया किसान को इससे जल्दी फ़ायदा होता है तो उसको पहले ही यूज कर देता है। जो लोअर वाला यूज नहीं करता है, उससे 2 नुकसान हो जाते हैं। एक तो लागत बढ़ जाती है, 1 स्प्रे के बजाय 4 स्प्रे करना पड़ेंगे फिर। दूसरा, उसके द्वारा जो भी पेस्ट मतलब जो भी कीड़े बच जाएंगे या उस कीड़ों की जो भी संतान पैदा होगी वो फिर और ज़्यादा रेजिस्टेंट पावर की हो जाएगी और फिर वो कीड़े नहीं मरेंगे।
And in today modern world, there are certain thoughtless processes which we adopted, like chemical fertilizer. It was a short-term gain, immediate benefit, but we never understood the consequences. When we use the chemical fertilizers and pesticides, the soil started becoming barren.
So while the world is increasing its demands on the farmer, it's unforgiving in the consequences. In a desperate bid to meet requirements for their produce, farmers resort to any means necessary to increase production to meet the increased demand. In the hope of a good yield, the farmers use more and more pesticides and fertilizers for short-term gain, only to eventually ruin the soil, which becomes contaminated.
1000-2000 का बिना बैलेंस बनाओ, फिर दूसरे आए वो न बनाओ 2000 को, फिर बनाओ यहाँ से 10-20 हज़ार रुपये एकड़ पे लागत जो अलग का फजूल लगता था सर जी।
अधिकांशतः हमने काफ़ी प्रयोग कर लिए हैं, यानी 400 करोड़ एक जिले में पेस्टिसाइड अकेला पेस्टिसाइड इतना डलना बहुत ज़्यादा होता है।
To make matters worse, pesticides, insecticides and fertilizers don't come cheap.
कहूँ कोई से उधार ले लिया तो पटाएंगे कहाँ से, तो एक जेब मजबूरी थी कि लेने के बाद में दें कहाँ से, ले तो अपन लें कर्जा कर लेंगे मगर देंगे कहाँ से, तो जाके मध्यम से और दिमाग पीछे पिछल जाता था कि नहीं अपन को कर्जा नहीं करना, भले ही अपन 2 टाइम खा रहे 1 टाइम खाएंगे।
मैं कृषि में तो परेशान था ही, और मैंने जो कर्ज लिया था स्टेट बैंक से वो मैंने लिया था 70,000 रुपये 2005 में। 2005 में कर्ज लिया तो वो कर्ज मेरा 2011 तक नहीं पट पाया, और बैंक वाले घर में आते थे, जो बिजली का बिल है वो बिजली का बिल भी हम नहीं चुका पाते थे, क्योंकि परिस्थितियाँ ऐसी थी कि खाने के लिए मोहताज थे। कृषि करते थे, 7 एकड़ ज़मीन है हमारी, और करने के बाद में भी हम मुश्किल से पूरा परिवार, जो बच्चे हैं हमारे 4 बच्चे हैं, पति पत्नी हम पिताजी हैं, और परिवार के खर्चे में ही सारा साल गुजर जाता था, दूसरा हम कोई काम नहीं कर पाते थे।
तो इसमें तो हमेशा की तरह मरना है, कर्जदार हमेशा जीवन भर बने रहोगे, और नहीं पटेगा तो वो फिर तो वो मौत की तरह राह ले जाती है और कुछ नहीं सोचता। जब कर्जीले हो, चारों तरफ से आपकी रास्ताएं बंद गई, आप 5वीं जगह से कौन दे देगा तुम्हारी।
Coming up next, we are now realizing the catastrophic results of the long-term use of uninhibited modern-day agricultural practices.
First of all, whatever damage we have done to the soil, we must heal it.
The daily loss and deaths of farmers who were committed to their land, the irreversible damage to the soil, and the rise in diseases that result from contaminated food. This situation leads to the biggest irony of them all. The grower of food is often forced to go without it. The crippling cost of these fertilizers means they often have to take loans to pay for them. In the long term, their land becomes barren and unusable, and the food poisonous. And unless there is a bumper crop, he is unable to pay his debts. The farmer goes into a spiral of debt and desolation, and the loss of fertile land from which he can seldom recover. A farmer spends more than 20% of his money on fertilizer and manure. And it's so not shocking when studies revealed that almost half of the farming population is under debt.
It has been observed that weeds, when they were sprinkling more of pesticides and chemical fertilizers, the problem of weeds was also increasing. But what I observed, that the food which they are eating is unhealthy.
अगर कृषि नहीं बदली तो भारत का भी भविष्य अंधकारमय, ऐसा मैं अपने विचार से, मेरे विचार से भारत का भविष्य भी अंधकारमय रहेगा। उद्योग या सर्विस अकेले भारत को उन्नति के विकास पर नहीं ले जा सकती।
So farmers were complaining, they want to change from farming with pesticides to organic, but the soil is already spoiled. So that's why we choose, because Shivyog we see is a great, amazing solution to reactivate the pesticide soil into organic soil.
And then comes the most devastating effect of the vicious cycle: farmer suicides. Suicide rates started amongst farmers in 1987, which was when the euphoria over the Green Revolution started to fade. Shockingly, it would seem like more lives have been lost by farmer suicides than terror attacks or natural calamities in India.
आज के परिप्रेक्ष्य में देखा जाए, क्योंकि अब किसान की जो फसल की उत्पादन की सीमा तो चरम सीमा पर, क्रिटिकल पॉइंट पर आ चुका है। अब उस पेस्टिसाइड या फर्टिलाइजर से अब उत्पादन नहीं बढ़ रहा है।
If we do not change our current agricultural system or advanced agricultural system that we are practicing today in India, especially looking to the problems created by these technologies developed, we must think some other alternate way to combat these created problems or man-made problems. We are disturbing the ecosystem that we are today observing. Because of these the technologies, these are the results, and bad results we are now trying to solve with the introduction of another alternate approach, that is organic farming. In organic farming, we only use the natural products for control of disease, for control of pest, for nourishing the plants for various nutrients, and also we are maintaining the soil physics by using these organics.
We are now realizing the catastrophic results of the long-term use of uninhibited modern-day agricultural practices over the past few decades. The daily loss and deaths of farmers who were committed to their land, the irreversible damage to the soil, and the rise in diseases that result from contaminated food. One solution that many have found is the alternate approach of organic farming.
First of all, whatever damage we have done to the soil, we must heal it, and that we can do it with Shivyog agriculture.
But while organic farming may be the solution that modern-day agriculture needs, it throws up its own set of challenges. The land has to be left alone for a few years before it can recover enough for organic farming. Years that a poor farmer does not have in a country like India. Babaji Avdut Shivanandji predicts a bleak future unless we change the course of action that mankind has exhibited so far. In his endeavor to save the future of mankind and to ensure a healthy earth for our future generations, he has gone back to our ancient Vedic knowledge to solve modern-day problems. One such solution is Shivyog farming, which entails channeling the rays of the sun on the field, crop and soil, as well as transferring cosmic energy through the farmers to the crops by focused meditation and chanting of the Bij mantra. But can chanting and meditating really impact food growth?
But then they feel what they are doing, what kind of food they are giving. So they want to change to organic. So this is actually in Australia is happening green revolution. Whole world, if you can, whole Europe, you can see green revolution is going on because people have understand we must come back to the roots.
Another important part is that when we apply the chemical fertilizer and pesticide, it goes in the ecosystem. It disturbs the ecology of the soil. It also disturbs the ecology of the river. It also, when it reaches to the sea, then there also we will find some effects. The advantages of Shivyog farming, what I see is that first of all we can reduce the input cost of fertilizer, cost of pesticide, and all chemicals which are used for today's advanced agricultural practices. It leaches along with the water in the ground, and again we are taking that water for drinking purpose and other purposes. It contains very harmful chemicals and causing health hazard to animals, health hazard to human beings.
If the soil is healthy, it can produce a healthy crop. So we will have to work at the soil level, and it has been observed that even for 21 days, if the Shivyog is done, Shivyog agriculture is done on the soil, the organic carbon content which we generally try to achieve in the organic farming, from 0.6 it increased to 1.8. That means 3 times within 21 days it increased. The nitrogen content and the phosphorus content, that also increased considerably.
For any system to be adopted in conventional scientific practice and for it to sustain itself in our modern world, it must be studied thoroughly. A series of studies and tests done over the last few years have shown encouraging results.
According to WHO reports, every year more than 3 million people they suffer from such type of pollutants. And accordingly, we have decided that in agriculture we should do something. The Shivyog International Forum, they came to us, they have said that Shivyog agriculture is one of such alternative. Initially, we had no idea about Shivyog agriculture. Though we have studied about Vedic agriculture, but initially we had no idea about Shivyog agriculture. That's why whenever they approached us, initially we did not believe that such type of things would happen. So accordingly, we have decided to grow a crop which is known as green gram, Vigna radiata, in our college plots. And we have selected 2 plots for that, and 1 plot we kept for recommended practices and other plot for the Shivyog. So whenever we have seen the performance, we have tested the performance of their germination of seeds, we have noticed some significant developments there. We have seen that the root length and shoot length in case of Shivyog healed seeds, it is almost more than 6 centimeter. But in case of these other seeds where we have used the recommended package of practices, there we have seen that it is less than 4 centimeter as compared to the other plot. So that's why whenever we have compared the performances, again finally, to our utter surprise, we have seen that the crop growth parameters when we have studied, it is about 0.064 in case of a gram per square meter per day growth rate, as against 0.4 in case of the other recommended package plots. And accordingly, whenever we have harvested the crop, we have seen that the performance is very, very superior in case of Shivyog healed plot. There we have found about 15.58 quintal per hectare yield, which is really very good and very promising, as against 11.13 quintal per hectare in the other recommended package plot. So they are clearly indicated that the performance is very better. It is over by 4 quintal per hectare yield we have seen there. However, another observation which was astonishing for us is the length of the pods. The length of the pods in case of Shivyog hill plot, we have seen that it is more than about 8 centimeter per pod length, whereas it is in case of the other, it is about less than 6. So that's why our observation is that per pod, the number of seeds are more in case of Shivyog hill plot as compared to the other, where we have observed about 11 number of seeds per pod as compared to 13, more than 13 number of seeds per pod. Also, in the Shivyog hill plot, we have observed that the number of pods per plant is about 101 as compared to 83 in case of the recommended package plots. And we have also compared the other aspects such as the nutrient availability in the seeds. Whenever we have seen that the nutrient contents in the seeds, it is about in case of protein percentage, though the recommended package plots, it has very promising aspects in terms of protein, but in other aspects as then carbohydrates, then vitamins and minerals. So we have seen some very good results in case of Shivyog hill plots seeds. So that's why we have seen that Shivyog could be one of the alternative of organic agriculture if it is observed in its true sense.
Scientists from the Assam Agricultural University found out that Shivyog farming yielded better seed germination and higher crop production than the scientifically recommended practice of agriculture. The study also highlighted that this brought down the cost of cultivation 3 times for a farmer, as he did not have to invest in high quantities of fertilizers and manure. Coming up next, farmers and scientists alike are baffled and encouraged by the results that Shivyog agriculture is producing. Farmers have not seen just an upturn in crop quality and yield, but also in profits and the quality of life. While this seems to be working in the short term, the critical question remains on whether it can be sustained and included as a form of modern farming. The study highlighted that this brought down the cost of cultivation 3 times for a farmer, as he did not have to invest in high quantities of fertilizers and manure.
मिट्टी का परीक्षण हमने 2 टेस्ट डाले थे किसानों के यहाँ। एक के यहाँ हमने जो है कि आलू और 5 एकड़ में लगाए थे, 1 एकड़ उनने हमने शिवयोग के लिए रखा है और 4 एकड़ हमने नॉर्मल रखे हैं। 1 एकड़ में लहसुन लगाया है, 25 डेसिबल हमने शिवयोग के लिए रखा है और 75 डेसिबल हमने नॉर्मल रखा है। इसमें हमने इसकी पहले सैंपल मिट्टी का, सॉइल का सैंपल लिया। उसके परिणाम में हमने 2/11 को नमूना लिया था, 2/11-15 को हमने मिट्टी का सॉइल का नमूना लिया, टेस्ट कराया। 30/11 को जो हमने उन सॉइल टेस्ट दोबारा कराया, तो उसमें आप देखेंगे एक किसान के यहाँ 3 गुना अंतर सारे एलिमेंट्सों में, मिट्टी की सॉइल स्ट्रक्चर में पूरा 3 गुना फ़ायदे वाले तत्व बढ़ गए हैं और नुकसान वाले तत्व घट गए हैं।
The agricultural crisis is worldwide, and India is not alone in nearing critical points in unhealthy and polluted agriculture. If Shivyog healing is to be treated as a science, the results need to be guaranteed, not just in India, but across the world in different farming communities. The same methods and principles of application need to be successfully replicated in different countries.
We have done a lot of tests of apple trees as well. Old apple trees and also new apple trees, which was genetically modified, and they wouldn't give fruit. Matlab, it takes them long time to give fruit, or either they don't give fruit at all. So we have started doing Shivyog on these apple trees, and apple has come. So many trees, all the Shivyogs are in Austria, they have started whatever Baba teach them in Shivyog healing, and they have not given fruit, but now they are fruit laden. So these fruits are tasting totally different. Even these vegetables tasting totally different because they are not pesticides. So you can feel, you can taste, you can absorb with all your senses. even how the fruit look, how the vegetable look. So we have made this test on salads, on various vegetables, various fruits. So also we have made a field test. That means regularly for 21 days, sadhaks were going on the fields and did the Holy Durga Saptashati Sadhana and also the Shivyog healing. So what happened? People sometimes they were sick, but they went on the field with fever. After session, fever was over. So they came with headache, and they themselves experienced great healing. So in the field, we have made the holes on particular places, and we couldn't find worms. Means no microorganism was there, and this was also the complaint of the farmer. He wanted to change the pesticide field into organic, but it will take so long. So he was looking for a solution how he could do it. So he gave us the fields to make these experiments and test. So after 21 days of healing, we again made on the same holes, and we found hundreds of worms. And best was, we went there every day in the field, and even we hear the owls, the birds in the forest. When we start the chanting of the holy mantras, same the owl will hold. Then deer was coming. Deers are very shy. They don't come near to human. They were coming on the field, wild chicken were coming, and you could feel there was a vibration. And also the farmer, he came with a big map, and I asked him, what is this? He said, these are all my lands, hundreds of hectares, you take it, do it. So he is also happy, no? So we feel this is the solution for us all, and we are continuing with it.
The results are there for everyone to study. But whether the modern scientific world will accept Shivyog science is the question. Science is still in the process of developing instruments to see and measure cosmic energy.
सूर्य से जो ऊर्जा आती है, अल्टीमेट सोर्स तो ऊर्जा है, सूर्य की ऊर्जा। उसी ऊर्जा को पौधे ग्रहण करते हैं, उसी ऊर्जा को जो है ना पृथ्वी या जो अपनी मृदा है, सॉइल, वह ग्रहण करती है। तो ऊर्जा ग्रहण करके ही तो पौधा अधिक बढ़ता है। और उस ऊर्जा का अध्ययन मैंने जो बतलाया आपको कि ये वैज्ञानिक विधि से मैं कितनी ऊर्जा उसको मिली, जैसे मंत्र पढ़ा तो ये जो वातावरण में प्राकृतिक रूप से जो ऊर्जा है और मंत्र पढ़ने से जो ऊर्जा में एलिवेशन हुआ, वो एलिवेशन का मापदंड वैज्ञानिक तरीके से होना आवश्यक है, तभी हम कह सकेंगे कि भाई इतनी ऊर्जा अधिक पौधे को मिली। अभी तो मैं यही कह सकता हूँ कि भाई उसकी साइज़ बढ़ गई, पौधे की वृद्धि अधिक हो गई, जो सीड का जर्मिनेशन है उसका अंकुरण अधिक हो गया और वृद्धि तीव्र गति से हुई या उसका उत्पादन अधिक बढ़ गया। इन्हीं पैरामीटर के अनुसार हम कह सकते हैं कि जो शिवयोग के द्वारा जो पौधे तैयार किए गए या जो उसका उत्पादन मिला उसमें वृद्धि हुई।
Now this is again a science which we must learn, that the sound which we make, it is the vibrational frequency which our ears they hear it. Now if I increase my sound frequency, that the sound will turn into nad and your ear cannot hear it. Now every planet, the whole universe is made up of sound waves. It is the vibration, again I will come to vibration give birth to energy, energy is to physical reality. The scientists they found that the sun emits a particular sound, and they went closer, and the first sound which they could hear was the sound of Om. But we Shivyogis, when we go in deep state of consciousness, we hear the celestial sounds. Now the whole universe has the power which exists in the universe is life giving, and there is in the universe another vibration, another sound which is destructive sound. So, we tap those life-giving sounds, and when we emit those vibration of the mantra, then the ether, the shunya which is there, what we see is not shunya, but it is the presence of atoms and subatomic particles. And we, with the sound of mantra, we influence those atoms and subatomic particles, and we create a particular atomic configuration according to what we need. It's a science. Again, a human being has the power. So, these are the celestial sounds which gives life. We have tapped, and I am giving to the farmers.
Shivyog farming may sound too abstract or far-fetched a concept to some, but can't be discounted when it's backed up by results. Research into this wondrous solution to worldwide agricultural problems might be in its nascent stage, but shouldn't be dismissed as a viable solution.
वो गन्ना हमारे खेत में लगा है, जिन लोगों ने ठेका पर लिया है। हम साधना करते थे, हमको पता नहीं था कि साधना करने से इनकी फसल बहुत अच्छी हो रही है। सब लोग बोल रहे थे खेत वाले, यार इतना टॉप गन्ना हुआ, तुमने देसी खाद डाला था, उसका कारण है या और भी हो। मेरे को पता नहीं था कि ये साधना से हो रहा है खेती के बारे में।
Then is the genetically modified seeds, we must make them compatible to the consumption of human beings. So, we work on the seeds. So, the cost of agriculture reduces 50 to 70%. So, that burden, the financial burden which the farmer was facing, now if the cost is reduced to 70%, and even if he is making his own seeds, then he is very happy, only he has to put the labor.
जो 100% पहले लागत 20,000 लगाते थे, अब हम 5,000 लगा रहे कुल। वो बॉस है 3 गुनी फसल हमारी 4 गुनी ने कर रही है। मगर अपने हृदय पे, अपने शरीर पे विश्वास रखो, गुरु को प्रणाम करो, करोड़ करोड़ नमन प्रणाम करो, अपने तत्वों को बिल्कुल ध्यान में रखते हुए उनको निर्मल करो, निर्मल।
और ये भी 5-6 साल की हो गई थी, इसने भी कोई बच्चा नहीं दिया। मतलब ये लोग बोलते थे कि बांझ है, ये बांझ है, मतलब ये बच्चे नहीं दे सकती। तो उसी समय बाबा जी का शिविर हुआ नरसिंहपुर में, और बाबा जी ने जो शिवयोग किसान हीलिंग सिखाई थी और बताया था कि अगर हम कोई गाय पे इसको करें तो जो बांझ गायें भी हैं वो भी बच्चे देने लगेंगी और दूध भी पर्याप्त मात्रा में बढ़ जाएगा। तो हम वहाँ से आए, तो वहाँ से हमारे बच्चे हैं और हम सब लोगों ने 21 दिन इसको हील किया। डेली साधना करने के बाद में आधा घंटा हीलिंग करते थे गाय को भी। तो 21 दिन बाद ये गाय गर्भाधान के लिए तैयार हुई। तो ये क्या, जब गर्भाधान के लिए तैयार होती है तो चिल्लाती है। तो फिर हम इसको बैल के पास ले गए, तो वहाँ पर ये हुई, और आज ये बाबा जी की कृपा से आज ये बछिया ब्याह चुकी है और ये आपके सामने रिजल्ट है।
Farmers and scientists alike are baffled and encouraged by the results that Shivyog agriculture is producing. Farmers have not seen just an upturn in crop quality and yield, but also in profits and the quality of life. While this seems to be working in the short term, the critical question remains on whether it can be sustained and included as a form of modern farming. We may not be able to substitute modern agricultural practices entirely, but it provides an alternative system and a hope for millions of farmers across the world.
My personal reaction regarding the spiritual agriculture and today's agriculture, definitely I will be on the side that the process which is not causing damage to the ecosystem. The big question before us is, will that system immediately replace the existing system, with cautions that sufficient food grain will be available, sufficient vegetable will be available, food stuff will be available. Shall we nourish our people in a proper way?
No matter if you're Austrian, if you're Russian, if you're Indian, this is holy ancient wisdom of, yes. Yes, the answer to our questions. So we are very happy. Yes.